Can someone explain what happened yesterday, please?
I actually watched it again. I watched it twice. And I was just shocked at how disorientated the team was, how there was no unity within the team. There was no compactness. Sitting there scratching my head like, is this the players or is this the manager's fault?
Paul Pogba's comments.
I've got to be honest, if I was in a change room and a teammate had said that, I wouldn't be happy.
Look, I got some things that I need to get off the chest here with United.
Is Mo Salah the best player in the world at the current moment?
Yes. The way Salah's just elevated, boy. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, right now are the teams you're looking. If you're going to say who's contending to win this league, I can't see outside them three winning it.
Sokin. They can never do it like I. When you see man pull up and slide, man stepped in the room with legends, Rio and Steve, you know it's a vibe. Check the podcast, what you wanna know? Don't ask me, go and ask Joe. If you're talking Premier League, he's on the front line and I gotta go. Oh, it's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. Vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know this.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this week's Vibe with Five. You got myself, the excited, Joe Beya, and yes, the not so excited Stephen, excuses all about Man United Howson. And we've got Rio. Will he protect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer Ferdinand this week? Oh, let's get in there. I'm not holding back.
You know what, Joe? If I was there, that chandelier will be all over your head now.
One thing about this chandelier, it's classic, mate. You know?
They're always like this, don't you? Because they don't play till tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Crystal Palace you're playing?
Crystal Palace, man.
Yeah, Monday night games are always a myth. Dead teams.
Nah, yeah, don't worry, man. It's my second team. Patrick Vieira's coming back. We're going to give him a quick slap in, but we'll appreciate him for what he's done. But, all right, so we've got the Sokin app, right? Sokin sponsors. We're going to give a massive shout out to you guys. We want to put it out there because later on this week, Sokin will be launching their first multilingual app, okay? So this one's for the French, the Spanish, the German, the Portuguese. You know me, un peu de français ici, alors je vais utiliser mon Sokin app. Yes, now that I've shown you my little something, you guys can make sure you go and you download it. Sokin wasn't just created for sending money overseas or making it easier. It's also about the future. No matter where you go, no matter where you are in the world, it's a service that you can use. And the Sokin team are always looking for different ways to support those who face specific barriers which prevent them from accessing their money, whether it be language, whether it be location. And that's what we're here for. So it's a truly exclusive app for you guys to get used to. Remember, Sokin is for those who want a safe, convenient and affordable way to send and spend money abroad. For a fixed monthly fee, you can send, spend, convert, receive unlimited money transfers locally or internationally at the click of a button via the easy-to-use app. So go and download the Sokin app. It's free and available to use. It's free and available to use on iOS and Android. And make sure you follow Sokin on social media, Sokin Global, to keep up to date with everything. Guys, let's get onto it. Sokin. Okay. The first team that we have to look at this week, it's got to be Man United. I don't care who played on Saturday. We've got Salah's goals. We've got Chelsea's wins. We've got City's win. But I want to talk about Manchester United getting beat 4-2 by Leicester City. Jamie Vardy still having a party at the age of 33. Can someone explain what happened yesterday, please? Nah, don't try it before I go get my cold tea, yeah, and my cake again. Don't try it.
Where should we start? Where do you want to start?
I want to start. Okay, look, there's loads of questions, right? We've got pre-match, during the game, and post-match from different players and the manager, etc. Pre-match.
Hang on.
Wait. Pre-match, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying, you know, how wonderful Ronaldo is because he played in that Qatar game like I told you he would. And he was banging in the goals, etc., because he's not going to want to sit down. It looked like Ole was under pressure to play the players that we had criticised him for not playing last time. Steve, would you say that's a correct statement?
No.
Why?
Well, he couldn't play Cavani and he couldn't play Fred. He was always going to play Pogba and Matic. It might have been Pogba and McTominay. So, no.
All right, cool. But he still didn't play Ronaldo, did he? And he didn't play Pogba the last game, which people questioned.
No, and at the time, I said he got that selection wholly incorrect against Everton. And I'm happy Sir Alex Ferguson agreed with me and seemingly said, like, you should have played him. You go with your strongest team every single time if you can do. Don't rest someone when it's international break. Let the international manager figure out what's going on with a player arriving tired. But 3 points for United should always be the priority. Can I just set something straight as well? This guy on this side of me here has never told me what to say on anything. Have you, Rio? Ever?
No.
I don't think I'd be on here if that was the case. You get anyone to come and say whatever the hell they want.
Oh, no one gets briefed to say anything on it. You say what you want.
Yeah.
I'd prefer you don't swear because my kids watch it, but I'm not going to tell you not to swear, but you do. It's cool.
Because that's something I see get leveled at us all the time. So we're protecting our relationship with United. What relationship with United? He used to play for him, and I've been a fan all my life. That's the only relationship that we've got with United.
Okay, cool.
I tried to put that out there, by the way, because it's something that I see in the comments all the time.
It sounds like that's a you problem on your Twitter feed. I'm here to find out your thoughts, right, on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's selection this weekend, Steve.
I thought it was all right. Maguire's the big one that he's going to get criticised for. He's shown last couple of seasons that he's pretty bulletproof, but he had a stinker of a game. He had a shocker of a game. Is that injuries? Is that preparation? Honestly, that's something for Rio to answer on that.
What did he say, Joe? He said he hadn't trained or played for 3 weeks now.
3 weeks. Yeah. He hadn't played for 3 weeks. And for me, I can understand why he wanted to bring him back, because obviously with Varane not being there, Maguire coming back has always proved to be solid. We saw him doing it during the Euros. He looked like his concentration levels were high. You saw it last season when he came back. He was obviously very strong. Rio, is it easy though to not get taken out of the team, but you don't play and then you come back? Because he looked like he lost focus a few times during the game. Do
you know what it is? It's in my career. If I had been injured for a number of weeks and hadn't trained, it played on my mind. And listen, I was fortunate enough that the manager used to believe in me and trust me in those situations. Rio, you've not played for a week or two. Every now and again it happened. Right, you're coming back in, and I'd go and play. There'd be a nervous energy around me with that. Like, am I fit enough? Am I going to be sharp enough? Who am I playing against, etc. So it would unnerve you a little bit. From the top of my head, I can only think of one player who done it consistently brilliant, and that was Ledley King. He could train zero amounts and go into a game and be a 9 out of 10 all the time. All the time. He was a joke. He was ridiculous. But you've got to be a certain type of person and player to do that. Now, Ledley understood his body and knew that's how the only way he was going to play was by limiting his training. Where someone like Harry Maguire, I'm sure, trains consistently all the time, continuously. So it was very different for him. Add to that the dynamic of going back to your old club. Now, whether it's a year later, the first game, whether it's 2, 4, 5 years later, it's still different to going anywhere else, because their fans are up for it. They're on you. You know the players. You're playing against ex-teammates and stuff. It adds to it again. Another amount of nervous energy that can come through your system. But you deal with it. So you've got two things there: not training, not playing for 3 weeks, and going back to your old club. Very difficult. And that's the way it played out in the game. Now, does that make Harry Maguire a bad player? No, it doesn't. But you can look at it and say, did the manager get that one right? Probably didn't. Because there was also, you got Eric Bailly who was there. I think he played at national level during the week. So he could have come in and played. And him and Lindelof together aren't a terrible partnership. They could cope with this, I would have thought. But
Rio, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. When you got a Niacho and an informed Jamie Vardy, to be honest with you, I don't know if I'll be having Bailly and Lindelof.
Listen, I understand putting Maguire in because he very rarely lets the manager down. So I think you can put that issue to the side. He's just had a bad day at the office.
Yeah,
but I think it's bigger than any individual. I think if we're talking about Man United as a whole, I watched the game against Leicester. I actually watched it again. I watched it twice, and I was just shocked at how disorientated the team was, how there was no unity within the team. There was no compactness. There didn't seem to be a game plan. And my biggest question when I'm watching that game is that loads of different points in the game. I paused it, sitting there scratching my head like, is this the players or is this the manager's fault? That's what I'm sitting there asking myself all the time.
That's my question to you, right? Is it the player or the manager's fault? And secondly, when you looked at those positions, Rio, right, and we're going to put the images on screen right now so everyone can see, there seemed to be a lack of press.
Yeah, and I looked at it, and you see the balls are getting played through the lines. Match of the Day done it during on Saturday night really well, but the ball's getting played through the lines. That's an issue, right? Through the midfield lines, and we'll have the images up there. The two other big issues for me, looking at just those clips in isolation, is one, there's zero pressure on the ball, no pressure on the ball. So when there's no pressure on the ball, you drop as a team. Yeah, that's what you do. But also look at the distance between the back line and the centre midfield. There's no connectivity at all between the whole team. It's all off. So is that the players? Is that the management have set up and told them, listen, right, boys, we're going to go and press high, or we're going to drop into a low block? What one is it? Because at the moment they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing. They're doing neither. They're all doing their own thing. There's other screenshots as well when there's players pressing. I see players pressing, but there's no one coming in behind it. It's like Sancho a couple of times goes to press, then he's looking around him after he's made his initial press. There's nobody behind him. Luke Shaw's off of his man. Maguire's off of his man. Pogba, Matic off of their man. Fernandes off of his man. He's doing a one-man press. So is that the players not listening to the manager and not carrying out the task in hand? Or is that the players just saying, we can't do it, we're not able to do it, or we don't want to do it? They're the questions that are in my head, and I can't work out what it is.
Rio, let me ask you, yeah, when you played at Glory Man United, right? Successful.
I don't like your energy. It's pissing me off.
EGMU, right? When you were playing, was there ever a time where you just chose, I'm just not going to listen to what the manager says. I'm just going to, we're all, not just you.
Are you mad? Are you mad? That can't happen. Forget the manager, yeah? Forget the manager. The changing room would not accept that. If a player ain't pulling his weight, the other players are onto him.
Was it accepted during Moyes' time?
No, the players are aggressive. They'll be onto people. We just didn't get it right under Moyes. We were just shit. There was a lot of things that didn't happen. Forget Moyes. This is about now, right? And when you look at that team, and you talk about, I've seen people say, "Oh, but we haven't got the players to press." Listen, the best team I played against, in terms of one of the two best teams pressing me, I've played against, was Barcelona's team. And you can't tell me that the players in them teams, their best part of their makeup was about pressing. It weren't. They were all great individuals with the ball, team players with the football, caressing the ball, taking the ball under pressure. No one said that they were great athletes. No one said that they were great runners. But they had an ethos, a philosophy that the manager laid down at that football club and said, listen, any man that don't want to run in this team don't play. And that's what I'm getting to.
Question, Rio. You're answering your own question.
Because I'm getting to that. Let me get to it, bro. You keep cutting. I don't like your energy at the moment, right? You don't keep cutting me. Right? But what I'm saying,
a big fucking spoon, Joe. That's what you need.
What I need, what you end up sitting there and you go to yourself, right? I've looked at all different areas here. Is it the players? Is it the manager? Well, for me, I have to sit there and say now, the manager's got to be demanding from these players. You can't sit there and tell me that Sancho hasn't got the capacity to sprint and run to people for 90 minutes. You can't tell me that Greenwood hasn't got the capacity to do it. Maybe Ronaldo has to turn it on and off, but there are some times where you compensate for other players who are going to get you the goal a game, which Ronaldo does. But you can't tell me Pogba can't run and get after people. And the biggest thing for me, right, is when, in terms of pressing, just pressing alone. If you go and you don't see teammates behind you, it's the most disheartening thing you can find on a football pitch. You think, what am I fucking pressing for? I'm wasting energy and no one's in behind me. And another big thing is, when you're pressing the opposition team, you've got to do it as a unit. You've got to do it in numbers, and it's got to come from the training ground. There's no way you can press a team without it coming from the training ground. These are things you work on. And then people are getting onto Sancho, getting onto to Pogba, etc., all these players, right, at Man United. That's fine. You can say that. Pass your opinion on the players. It's not a problem. But I'll tell you one thing. As a player, when you're struggling for form, when you're struggling for imagination, etc., to do the things that you're known for doing, the little sparks of genius, right? If you're struggling for that, What you fall back on in them times is the structure of the team, is the patterns of the team. And that's what I don't see in this team. I'm saying if you've got them, you fall back on them and you can play blind. You know where your forward's going to be. You know where your wide man, you know where your fullback. The ball comes to you. I play my easy passes. I know where they're going to be. At the moment, them consistent patterns are not there in this team for the players to fall back on when there's a little bit of a lull in the game, when there's a moment of desperation. This team, they couldn't do what Chelsea done at Brentford the other day.
No way.
Where they're sitting there and they're saying, right, Dave, you come and try and score. You ain't going to score. We're going to get together. Chelsea, and I don't want to keep using other teams as examples, but you look at Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, the 3 title contenders right now, right? What they've all got in common, they're different teams, different players, but they've all got in common. They've got a resilience when they need it. They beat teams one or two ways, right? But they're very, very consistent in what they do. And thirdly, which I feel is a massive, massive importance, which Man United haven't got at the moment, is they formed partnerships all over the pitch. They formed relationships all over the pitch. My best thing about my team was I looked to the left of me and see Vida. That's my guy. I relied that I know your game inside out. Whoever played right back, Gary Neville or Wes Brown, Rafa de Silva, I know what you do. We're a partnership as soon as you come in. You form them all over the pitch. Chelsea, you can see it with the players. Don't matter who plays as one of the centre-backs. They've got a partnership and they've got a resilience together. Do you know what I mean?
Your best partnership is Fred and McTominay. Before Ronaldo come, it is, whether people like it or not, and I'm not even mocking.
Yeah, Luke Shaw and Rashford.
That is what.
Bruno and Rashford. Do you know what I mean? They've got that connectivity, but
in the big games,
I don't see it enough all over the park. And then them relationships enable you to be able to fall back and be able to go, do you know what? We can be resilient because I can rely on you and I know where you're going to be. At the moment, I think if a player closed his eyes and then said to him 5 seconds later, open your eyes, where will your teammates be? I don't think they'll have a good idea of where everyone will be on the pitch. The best teams, you close your eyes, you open them 5 or 10 seconds later, you'll have a really good idea of pinpointing where your teammates will be. This Man United team don't feel like they can do that. There's far too many times that I see they look at the team. What shape was Man United playing at the weekend against Leicester? It looked like a 4-2-4.
4-2-4, mate.
It looked like 4-2-4.
The wingers.
Was that the intention? What I'm saying is was that the intention, or was that just players just going off willy-nilly? These are the questions that answers you need, and we just haven't got it. There's clips in that where players are pressing, and they're so far off it. If you flip it and look at the Leicester clips and you screenshot Leicester when they're pressing, they got 5 and 6 man locked onto the opposition players. We haven't. We don't do that. We press in 1s and 2s. It's mad. It's mad.
Steve, Paul Pogba's comments post-match, to me, I feel Paul Pogba is one of the best players in the Premier League, no doubt. I think his ability, we see it, especially when we see it for France, once he plays under Didier Deschamps, who I think is a very underrated manager that people don't think about sometimes. Just want to put it out there. Loads of experience, great players.
You put Pogba's comments up on the screen, please, for the people to see that.
Paul Pogba's comments. When you see them, I think he talks in very encryptic language. What do you reckon he was saying or trying to say?
Mate, post-match interviews are a lot of bollocks. No one ever comes out and says the truth. The only person who ever did was Louis van Gaal, and he was off his tits. So no one really comes out and says what they really, really mean. There's a lot of misdirection. Fergie gives you it, doesn't he? He's like, when my team's lost, I'm going to go out and slag the referee off. I'm going to deflect. I'm going to change the subject. Jose Mourinho read it, took it in a different direction. Like, post-match interviews are a nonsense. Look, I got some things that I need to get off the chest here with United.
Go on.
Rio's talked about the pressing. I like pressing football. I've got a winger who scored 4 goals this season just by pressing someone, right? That's how much I like watching pressing. I think one of the major dramas, and I sent this to Rio on Saturday, with this United team is that I think there is a lack of structure in how we attack. I also think the personnel in our attack And this is why I think the selection was wrong against Everton, as it's been wrong a few times this season. And I think the fitness of Marcus Rashford and him coming back is going to change this in a big way. Hopefully going to change this in a big way, but still doesn't take away a lot of the issues that we've got. Is that far too many of our players either want the ball to feet or want to come inside. Mason Greenwood will not stand on the touchline on the right-hand side, and he won't stretch that opposition left centre-half and left full-back. He just thinks he's a striker. So he narrows in. So if you're playing left-back and left centre-half against Mason Greenwood, you know not to let him to come inside on his foot, even though he can come in and score bangers, and he still gets to do that. But you know that he's not going to go around the outside here. So you can always narrow in a little bit. Now, as you're...
Sorry, Steve, on that point, other teams do that, right? Salah does it, but who's higher and wider than him sometimes? Trent.
Yeah, but this is the point I was making. So when you have Greenwood coming in, those left side centre halves and fullback are just coming in with him, because Wan-Bissaka, as much as I think he has improved, is not a major threat in that area. So you're almost kind of going, we'll just let him have the ball, because football's
going to cross it. You know he ain't going to cross it, and even if it does, you know the quality is not going to be great.
Football's give and take, isn't it? You can't control every single aspect of the game. You can't be man-to-man with everyone and double mark someone else. Like, you just don't have the manpower for that. So you're going to have to pick and choose a couple of players where you go, we'll let him have the ball. Sometimes you see it with a centre-half, you go, do you know what, we'll let that centre-half have the ball, but we'll press that one because we think he'll probably give it us if we press him. So you have to pick and choose your battles. Stoke used to do it. They used to say, right, we'll be narrow in the middle, but we'll look to break and use the touch lines and the width when we do. When teams are playing against United, they're able to narrow in on both sides because both of our forward wide players want to come inside. Luke Shaw's not been the player Luke Shaw was towards the end of last season, where he would be a threat getting into that final third. He would penetrate into that area to the side of the box, and he would put crosses in, flashing across the front of the 6-yard box or a cutback to someone. He's not doing that. Bruno Fernandes is far too high. And all that's happening then is you've got 4 players, and occasionally 5 when Pogba gets in the mix with there as well, 4 players all within the width of the opposition box. No threat, no width to the side. And I happened to watch City after I watched United. And after I'd sent Rio that little screenshot showing how narrow United was, like, they're defending narrow, and we've just chose to sit right on top of them narrow, with no penetration and no width either side. No one trying to move a defender out of position. No one trying to create a space in between. So when you wonder why United are getting, low percentage chances from our forwards, because we actually had quite a few chances, but we're getting low percentage chances because there's not enough space. No one's finding space in the box or just outside the box to be able to put a final ball in. When I watch City, whether it's a fullback or a winger that's offering serious width, they make one of the fullbacks come and deal with them. Then they'll look for an underlap or they'll recycle possession again a little bit, but they've pulled someone out of position and made him do something. When it's United, teams just sit right on the edge of that box and just go, do what you want, because we don't believe
it's the easiest way to defend. It's the easiest team to defend against teams with no width. Teams with no width, you sit there and you could play all day and they'll be lucky to score goals. The moment you get width in the game, you got a chance of spreading that back line across the whole width of that pitch. Once you do that, then the gaps appear for people to run into. Like that screenshot you sent me, Steve. I don't understand why the fullbacks aren't wide. You've got good possession. Get the fullbacks wide and start spreading the game. And you've got all these great attacking players, but how do you create space for them? You've got to spread the pitch. Simple as that. But it goes back to like what are Man United? What are we? Are we what's it called? Are we a team that dominates possession like a City Pep type team? No, we're not. Are we a team that can do what Liverpool do, which is you can be resolute, but then you just go on a little spree of banging teams out quickly? Don't seem to be that either. Are we a team like Chelsea who can be really resolute, who can sit back, who can defend leads and can win games 1-0, be ugly, win ugly? Liverpool can do that as well. No, we're not a team like that. Our best spell under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was as a counter-attack team. Well, that moment where I was saying give him the contract, that was the time where we were on the break, hurting teams. Rashford from back to front, running in behind, being penetrating. That was our best moments then when we were like that. And we've gone away from that. We've gone away from that, and I don't know what we are now. That's the most confusing thing. I don't know what style of football Man United are.
You guys finished?
No,
I haven't put it out there. I would have put it out there. That's 4 losses in 7 games, by the way.
Go back to this thing what Pogba said. One of his words here, I've got it up here on my phone. Mm-hmm. We need to find the right mentality and the right tactic. Stick with it and resolve the problem.
Steve just said that post-match don't mean nothing, but I don't agree. I think that's where you get the truth.
You don't get the whole truth. You don't get the whole. You get vanilla answers back.
Nah, I don't, because if it was vanilla, you wouldn't be reading it out.
In the main, you get vanilla. You get it's a hard game today, tough game. Yeah, but we'll go back to the drawing board. But this, what I've just heard here, what I've read here, we need to find the right mentality and the right tactic. Stick with it and resolve the problem. That says to me that the tactics must be changing week in, week out, and they haven't got an absolute. This is us. And he's asking them to stick with it, and that will resolve the problem in Pogba's eyes.
He also says,
concerning for me to see that.
He also says we need to be more mature, play with more experience and arrogance in a good way. We need to find something. We need to change.
Mm. There's a lot of I don't know, man. It just doesn't sit well with me when you see that. I've got to be honest, if I was in a change room and a teammate had said that, I wouldn't be happy. I've got to be honest.
No.
You ask him what he meant?
Yeah, I'd be straight in and saying, "What did you mean? Can you explain? What does that mean?" Like, I don't quite understand what you said, unless I actually agree. But I still wouldn't. I just think Pogba's an honest guy, man. That's what I like about Paul. He's a very honest guy, very passionate, wants to win, wants to be the best he can be. And that says to me that there's a underlying frustration within the camp there. And he can't hide it. He's not hiding it. Normally, like I say, you get bog standard answers. But there, he said a few things there that pose questions.
Is he staying? And also, why is it, do you think let me ask Steve this, because I don't know if Rio's going to give me the answer to this. Why is it that Deschamps is able to get more from him than Ole?
Are you fucking serious?
No, don't talk to me about just the players around the team, etc. Because Man United have got a very strong team at the moment, and I'm not buying it anymore. I'm not buying they've got the striker. They might not have the Kante around him. I get that. But Paul Pogba's
and it's literally that.
Areas of the pitch is always exceptional, even when he's on the ball. It's just not quite the same for United.
I can say something before you go into that. We've all cried out. All of the Man United fan base are saying a defensive midfielder is needed. Watching the last few games, I don't even think that player covers over the cracks.
Thank you.
I just think no one player can absolutely change everything if the structure of the team isn't working to the fundamentals, and it has no foundation. Say again.
I've got a graphic, right, which has got some data on it. I'll read it out, but I'll get Will to edit this in, right?
Good.
2016-17. How old was Michael Carrick in 2016-17? Was he like 35?
I don't know. Tell me.
I'm not sure how old he was. How old is he now?
37, something like that, 38.
Right, so he's 34 or something like that then, right?
Mm-hmm.
We played 12 games with him and 14 games without him. Michael Carrick, deep into his 30s, over the hill. Best days behind him. Agree?
Yeah.
4 years ago? Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Those 12 games that we played with him, we won 10 of them. Drew 2, lost none.
Mm-hmm.
Those 14 we played without him, we only won 5. We drew 4 and we lost 5. Don't tell me that one player can't make that much of an impact, especially in the centre of the pitch.
What team was that he was playing in? What team was he playing in then?
16-17. That would have been
Mangala or Mourinho.
Jose's first season.
Listen, I don't care Jose's team or not. One player ain't changing it. Listen, like I go back to my point about pressing. Don't matter if Michael Carrick's playing there or Kante's playing in there. If Sancho's pressing on his own and Kante's in there by himself, well, you think he's going to be able to cover 4 or 5 men?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
That's what I'm saying. And I saw far too many times on the weekend. But I saw far too many times on this weekend's game. And I know we're just isolating this game, but I've seen it many times before in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. I've watched Man United intensely, but there's too many occasions where I see a player go to press and the team aren't behind it. And I'm not talking 1 or 2 players. The team ain't pressing behind it. And it's not, you can't press a team like that. I don't care.
Yeah, and he's also not going to put people wider into the channels. Like, he's not going to fix certain things, but a player in the center of the pitch can definitely start to change those results. And I don't know what's changed. I don't know what's changed from last season where we were extremely resolute. The personnel on paper should be better. Maybe there's a little bit of a gelling problem. Maybe there's some form and injuries and other things that we're not aware of. But at the moment, it's grim reading and it's grim watching. And I got an issue with some of the arguments that people are putting in. Like, people just want everyone to scream, sack him. And I see loads of people saying you should have sacked him after the Europa League final, which is bonkers, right? His remit was to get back-to-back Champions League qualification, right? And everyone was disappointed that we didn't win the Europa League, and we should have won the Europa League. That doesn't mean giving a bullet on the back of that. I saw Craig Burley bumping his gums. He's hanging him, by the way, with some of the stuff he comes out with. Absolutely hanging. I think United beat him in a cup final once, and it was meant to be his greatest achievement in his career, and he's never let it go. But I see people mistaking, like, a complete lack of patience and probably understanding of what it takes to transform a team and all the rest of it. And I see them mistaking that lack of patience and that attitude for claiming that they've got standards and ambition and stuff like that, right? And Craig Burley created this nonsense the other day when he said, Sir Alex got time because he won the Cup Winners' Cup with Aberdeen, which is true, right? And it was a fine achievement, as was winning the league and breaking the old firm stranglehold. What Sir Alex did in Scotland was ridiculous. But he didn't get time because of that. Like, just the way Louis van Gaal being a Champions League winner and Jose Mourinho being a Champions League winner, their CV didn't help them in the Manchester United job. Ole's CV didn't hinder him for those first run of 15 or so games.
It's different times. It's different times, Steve. I'm sorry, but it's different.
Okay,
times.
can I finish though? Right? So Sir Alex's CV didn't win him games. No manager nowadays takes a team from second, which Sir Alex achieved, to 13th and survives. It's not a prayer that happens now. But luckily, Martin Edwards was aware of the work Sir Alex was doing with the scouting, with the youth, and all the work he was going behind the scenes. So this so-called magical CV that Sir Alex had, it didn't buy him that time then, and it didn't buy Louis or Jose time. And you know, that CV didn't win them any extra games. Ole was given the job as a transitional job. And I believe the plan was probably to appoint Pochettino at the end of the season. That's what I believe. Then Spurs went and got to the Champions League final. That probably changed everything. They thought they were probably going to kick on from then. And Ole went on that incredible run. And at the time Ole went on that incredible run, there was 11 players' contracts that were expiring. And like it or not, that is a monstrous asset, especially for this particular ownership, because they include the value of players' contracts as assets for the financial side of stuff. I believe that the Glazers wanted to tie those players up, and they couldn't tie those players up without knowing who the manager was going to be. Players aren't going to sign contracts to extend their stay at a club without knowing who the manager was. On the back of Ole's ridiculous run that he went on, he got a full-time job. Now, the job's got several facets. Yes, performance on the pitch is the number one thing that a manager should be judged on. But he's completely overhauled the back room to an extent that no one's done since Sir Alex Ferguson. Partially because he's had the time to that the other managers didn't do. Moyes didn't do it, apart from telling Rio he couldn't have chips. Like, the other managers never really got the time to do this. But he's implemented a worldwide scouting network of 50 scouts.
He ain't done that. He ain't done all that. It's nothing to do with him.
It's happened under his reign,
It's happened under his watch, but he ain't done that. That's nothing to do with Ole. Ole's concentrated on the team, man, and being part of the recruitment, maybe.
Okay, I'll leave him that one. But it's still, all of these things have happened under his watch that supposedly Jose Mourinho was reluctant to allow. So whether or not he's done it, he's allowed it under his watch, which wasn't happening under Mourinho. There was modernizations that needed to do. The first team squad needed completely remodeling. We had to get rid of the likes of Sanchez. We had to get rid of those little mistakes. He's needed to move on some of the players that were nearing 30 on big contracts, the likes of, Fellaini and Young and all of those sorts of people, and he's done that.
I agree with you, Steve, in most of what you said there. I just think with Ole, his remit was to improve the team, improve the standing of the team, get us back to a point where we can actually say we're going to compete for the league. He got us to second in the league. Yes, we didn't win the Europa League. That's fine. But he got us to second in the league. It was a gradual improvement every year he's been here. And the squad shape and the mould of the squad looks better than it did when he took over. That's all thanks, all perfect. This season now is Ole's squad. This season, we've said since the beginning of the season, he will be judged. He's had an unbelievable transfer window in terms of personnel he's brought in. He'll be judged on winning things now. He's got to go and win something and show an improvement again. And I think if he doesn't, then he's going to be on a chopping board. And I think that'll be the case. But I don't think the club will be having a knee-jerk reaction now. He's done enough to warrant finishing this season. And then, right, we'll see where you are. That's what I think will be the case. There'll be people that are saying, get rid of him now. That's the culture today. It hasn't worked for a few games. Get rid of him. I understand how people are doing that because that's current culture. But at the same time, when you've improved the squad, when you've improved the expectations of the squad before where it came in, year out, that warrants time. And I think he'll get to the end of this season and then it will be a cutthroat decision. Either, yes, you've done well enough to stay again, you've improved it and you stabilised what we were doing and we're on that journey still to where we want to get to, or we're now further away than we was before. You've regressed. Right, thank you very much. See you later.
I think if he gets Champions League, he'll still stay.
Well, my final question.
I think that'll be the black and white answer.
We're on this United topic way too long. There's too much crying here. All right. My last question.
Shut up, man. You're getting on my nerves.
This is the longest we've stayed on.
Shut up, man.
I've got one more question for you, Steve, Mr. Know-It-All. Yeah. If, for example, Ole was to get sacked, I don't know, let's just say by Christmas, the only thing that I back probably you in is I don't reckon that there's actually someone to come in the long term. Who would your long-term preference be? We're not saying it's going to happen. I'm just laying out to you just in case, because this is football. You never know. You know, he could go on another bad run of 5-6 losses. He's out the door. Who is capable of coming in and doing the job long-term?
Me and Rio with my assistant.
Nah.
It's all hypothetical. I don't think it's something that can happen.
Rio, I'm asking Steve.
Do you know how much the landscape's going to change in 12 months? I've seen people saying Graham Potter.
The question: Who do you think could come in? No one.
No one. I don't think there's a perfect candidate out there.
There's only two people that are actually gettable right now who aren't in jobs, and that's Conte and Zidane.
Okay, cool. So, do you reckon any of them?
I'd lean towards Zidane more than Conte. I don't like what Conte represents, and he's an absolute winner. But it's not just about that. There's a method of everything that Solskjaer's built towards. You're literally just ripping that up and starting again. And we just did that with Louis and with Mourinho. I actually think here's something that people will never get, right? I get accused of being in the Glazers' pocket, despite the fact that I go on a rant about hating them like a week, right? Which is hilarious, right? And if I'm in the Glazers' pocket, please send me the check. I'll give you the address because it's been a long time. Right? The way that I was raised, I'm never going to demand or lose my mind that a manager is sacked, any manager, because I think the job is mental. And I also understand the data behind it in terms of how sacking a manager, for the most part, the overwhelming most part, there's always outliers. For the most part, sacking a manager does not work. What works is long-term recruitment.
It worked for Chelsea. It worked for Chelsea.
Yeah, but they've always been successful doing that. And they've also got a squad always capable of competing. That's not the case at loads of other clubs. And they're the outlier. Most times, that's not the case. They've appointed manager after manager, and as almost every manager won something there. Didn't even AVB win something? Yeah, literally everyone wins something at Chelsea because they've had a good team.
It's not that.
Is Pellegrini a worse manager than David Moyes? He's won a league. But he wasn't the right guy for West Ham. Should he have not got time because he won a league with Manchester City? Oh, no, yeah, because actually City had a class team, and that's why he managed to win the league.
So do United. United got a class team as well.
Yeah, but we have got a class team, but let's not pretend that it's the best team in the country because it isn't.
Well, it's definitely top three. It's capable of winning some sort of trophy. Anyway,
it's a collection of fantastic individuals at the moment.
when I spoke about individuals, people wanted to complain. It doesn't matter. You've got individuals good enough. Honestly, I reckon with the right manager, and I'm not saying who, because obviously I do agree there's not a lot out there. But if Pep or Klopp or or Tuchel has Man United's team, you guys are more than capable of winning the league. Not challenging, which is what everyone's hiding behind. Oh yeah, we should challenge with this squad. No, you're capable of winning the league, and I will put my own money, my own Sokin app money on that Man United being able to win the league. And unfortunately, we can't do that.
Joe, I'm with you. This Man United team, when you look at it on paper, they should be fighting to win this league with them names, the name brands they got in there, the quality of player, the caliber of player. Man United should be competing to win the league. And I think before the season started, Ollie would have said that as well. Simple as that. So that's where we're at.
I don't know if he would have said that. But anyway, guys, we have to move on now. Loads of tears, loads of heartache.
You're a chief. Go on, anyway.
That's it, Next topic, we have to look at the brighter days, the brighter side of football. Liverpool. Woo! Doing what they're supposed to do. Using their players to the maximum. Beating Watford 5-0. What a performance. Is Mo Salah the best player in the world at the current moment?
Yes. Yes. He is. We said it on air the other day. How many weeks ago? Last week or the week before? He's the best man. At the moment, on current form, there's no one near it. We need to get the clip up. I sent it in the group earlier of a picture, the players around him. How's he scoring from that position? When you stop the picture, there's no way that this guy should be weaving in and out of here. But this guy's playing FIFA live and direct in a stadium on his own. He's playing a different game at a different pace to everybody else at the moment. And everything he seems to touch at the moment, either creates the chance, the goal that Mane scored, the pass. Bro, I was drooling. Unbelievable. I love Salah. I love Mane. As a combo, they're fantastic. But the way Salah's just elevated, I had an argument with Michael, and I told you this. I keep going back to it. He said Suarez is best Suarez year is better than Salah. I can't have it. I can't have it.
People in the comments were actually a lot of people in our comments.
The best year at Liverpool for Suarez is better than Salah. Nah, man, I can't have it. Salah's an absolute beast right now.
That's not what you think. I think this season is his best season so far. I mean, if you take, obviously, for what we can take it for, because he's not only scoring goals, but he's contributing in them as well. Do you see what I mean?
He's leaving people for dead.
He's leaving people on the floor like Messi. They're like bodies are on the floor, literally bodies on the floor. It's fantastic to see. And let's give a massive shout out to Firmino as well, man. Like, he seemed very happy. You know what I mean? I see his teeth were showing again. I'm thinking, right, a hat trick in a game like that, and to not get mentioned as much as Salah, you got to give him massive credit, man.
Can we get Ben Foster on here asking why I didn't fancy saving out?
Yeah.
They had about 8 shots, didn't they?
No, mate, seriously. But Liverpool are on fire, man. They're actually playing like the Liverpool team of 2-3 years ago when they were popping everybody. They look like they're dominant. There's a fear factor coming back through the league now when teams are coming up against them, thinking I'm playing against Salah, Mane. Firmino's back again. They've got Jota to come in. Van Dijk's back fit. Like, they're looking more solid. They're looking more secure in the way that they're playing. There's a connectivity between the whole team. They're playing as a unit. They press together, they retreat together, they attack together. There's a togetherness, man, and they're a team of experienced people who know how to get the job done. They've got trophies behind them now, so they're going to be a formidable team this year. And yeah, man, 5-0 against Watford, who've been a team that have hurt them a couple of times. They put that to bed.
Can they win the league, Rio?
Yes, of course they can. They are contenders straight. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, right now are the teams you're looking. If you're going to say who's contending to win this league, they're the 3 teams that I look at and go, I can't see outside them 3 winning it, because they are a team that I enjoy watching. Liverpool, as hard as it is to say as a Man United man, I actually turn the TV on to watch Liverpool because they are an exciting team. In all ways that they play, high energy, aggressive, with and without the ball, and they score goals and create chances.
Looking hard to beat this year, sadly.
Yeah, they are. Do you think there's a clear difference now that Van Dijk's back, the way he's just slipped into the team? Do you reckon that's making a undercover like difference? Obviously, Trent is also back in great form.
Yeah, man. Listen, Van Dijk, his importance in that team is there. It's obvious for all to see, man. Huge player. Forget his own personal performance, right? He could go in and be a 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. But what he gives to the other players is invaluable. The confidence that spreads when he's in that team. And you see that. When he's not in there, other players look unstable. One of the centre-backs, whoever plays, doesn't look the same player. Do you know what I mean? Trent hasn't looked as convincing sometimes when Van Dijk's not in it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it spreads throughout the team. So he definitely has an impact. I think as big an impact is Alisson if he doesn't play. And I think as big an impact will be someone like Salah or Mane as well if they didn't play. Those guys there, probably Fabinho, they got big players, but they're any of them players left out for a considerable amount of time they'd lack. But I think every team's got them players that happens with.
Their substitutes are interesting, Steve. The players that they take off is not like what any other team would take off. I mean, if you look at the players that came off, was Trent, Robertson, and Milner. All their attacking teams were able to stay on. Why are they able to do that?
There's some stuff I could say that I'd have some serious allegedlys in there. They've got a decent amount of squad depth, and obviously they was in such complete control in the game. I guess he's just managing his players in a match. I mean, it'd be interesting to see the data from Liverpool, actually, because most teams, you're looking at your midfield doing the most. Fullbacks are usually in and around there, and he's took off his big runners there, Milner and both his fullbacks. They're usually who's covering the most distance. I'm not sure, looking at that Liverpool game, if that had been the case, because it wasn't really end-to-end, was it? It was such a dominant performance from Liverpool that they didn't really have to do a lot of running. So I don't know. It could be something down to do with that, the mileage that they're going to do. I mean, they're in Europe this week, so maybe he's expecting a tougher game in Europe. Could be that.
All right, moving on to Man City, guys. Steve, you said you watched the game, so I'll let you take the floor on this one. And I know it kills you as well, so I'm more than happy to.
I hate City, honestly.
Yeah.
They're just a weird bunch, aren't they, the crowd? We kicked off at the same time on Saturday, and we play about 800 metres from the Etihad. It's a pain in the arse getting there on time through that traffic. Thought they were all local. Anyway, another thing. It was just a controlling performance when they just weren't really threatened at any point. Probably not. It probably wasn't as dominant as Liverpool's performance against Watford, but it was another just complete. It was easy. It was just easy for them. And the things that I was clocking after watching United is just a lot of that attacking structure, players that will do things for the team that I don't think United are doing, where they're just moving into a position, maybe not getting on the ball enough for their own good, and thinking, well, I'm going to get into this position because this is what the team needs, is me to move this player out of position, be available for a bounce pass or an inside ball if need be. But yeah, they're looking good. I think, as Rio said, there was 4 contenders on the opening day, and I think United have slipped off now. They're going to need someone to hit a real sticky patch. But Chelsea, City and Liverpool looking like 3 of the best teams in Europe at the moment.
It's only October, guys. Come on. Where's the faith?
Oh, shut up. You're not getting top 10.
You know what? I know I keep going back to Man United, but there'll be big meetings this week. There would have been a meeting after that game because they've got to stop the rot.
One with no biscuits as well. One of them ones.
No, yeah, it'll be a meeting where there's got to be some soul searching. There's got to be like some, listen, hold your hands up. I need to do more from management and from players. But also, I think a huge must in that meeting is right. This is the way we're going to go. No deviations. This is who we are. This is what we represent. This is Man United. We're going to go with it now.
Are you talking about a team meeting?
Yeah, there'll be a team meeting 100% this week. We had them. If there was ever a problem or a game or two where things weren't going right, we were conceding too many chances or we weren't killing teams off, the manager just pull a meeting straight up, bang. I know I've told you this one, but I don't know if I told you this before about Robin van Persie when he came, and we were creating like loads. I mean, we weren't creating enough chances. Van Persie had scored he was still top goal scorer in the Premier League at the time. I think about 10 games in, and the manager just put a video on, brought us a meeting, and just put the video on, and he kept stopping it. Look, he's fucking running. Look, he's in. Van Persie's in. Look, he's in. Look, he's in. Stopping it. Next clip. He's in. Can you not pass it to him, Carrick? Scholesy, Sanso. Can you not find him? He's fucking on. This guy's going to win you the league. Get him the ball. If he makes them runs, play it blind, because he's going to make these runs.
These are brilliance to me.
But these, yeah. But what I'm saying to you, that's from a base. That's from a structured base already that we already understood and knew.
No, just going to say people aren't going to get that as sarcasm, but you know.
But what I'm saying is there's little nuances in games that can change things for you, that can change a way of playing. It's like, for instance, they might go, right, we're going to just sit now and wait for teams to come onto us because our biggest threat is actually running behind now. Rashford's back, especially. Cristiano can do it. Even getting the ball wide and just crossing the ball. You've got one of the best attackers of the ball from wide areas in Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best attackers I've ever seen from wide areas. We don't cross the ball enough. And I'm just like, these little nuances that can just change the fortune of a team, along with the fundamentals and ironing them out. But yeah, what was he talking about? Liverpool or something?
Yeah, we'll talk about Liverpool. But just to stop real quick, yeah, you brought me back there, and my mind was, I started dreaming about Van Persie again. Can you describe Rio? His impact, man. Like you just said, he was top goal scorer. What was his attitude like when the manager's telling him this, and why weren't you guys playing the ball enough to him? Did you not trust him enough by this time?
It's just knowing the player. I think first and foremost with Robin, he was in awe of Man United. He was in awe of the changing room. He was in awe of the manager, because no matter how good a player is, he's one of the best players in the Premier League before he got to Man United, but he hadn't won. He didn't know how to win the Premier League. He'd tell you that himself. We'll get him on at some point. But he didn't know how to win. Didn't understand it was a sponge. I used to take him into training every now and again, or he'd take me into training or to the games, and that we used to go together. He just asked loads of questions, man.
Really?
Loads of questions. Like, what about this? What about this? This after that game, was it like then? And like the training before, all the players are in the gym before training. Like the little details that he said, the culture of the club. He just embedded himself in the culture. But in terms of him, Michael Carrick and Paul Scholes, two of the best passers the Premier League's ever seen. But it was just getting to know the player that's come through the doors in Robin van Persie. And sometimes, no matter how good a player you are, you need telling. And that goes back to my point about this squad now, this team at Man United. They need telling. The manager, I'm sure, will be telling them now, this is what I want. Or I presume that's going to be happening. That happened at that point in the season. And all of a sudden, his chances created went up. And obviously, he's converted the chances because he was just ridiculous in front of goal. But sometimes you just need telling. I needed it in my career at times, from Carlos Queiroz at times, from Sir Alex Ferguson. You're not doing this enough. Oh, yeah, shit. You forget little details. Right, bring it back into the game. Game improves again, goes up a notch. But yeah.
Was that RVP meeting when he went on that bit of a dry spell?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. No, I think he was still flying at that point early on. He was still flying. He still scored like loads of goals. But the manager was saying, this guy's going to win us the league. And if you don't see these runs, he will go on a dry spell, and you will end up losing the league because he got the knack to score the goals. He's making the runs. He's getting in. Find him.
I think I saw a stat that in the league he only had 84 shots or something like that.
Yeah, he was one of the most efficient players in all aspects of his game that I played with.
Listen, Robin van Persie, if you are watching Vibe with 5.
Van Pizzle, we used to call him Van Pizzle.
Is he no longer with BT? He was with BT last season, wasn't
he? Yeah. He's coaching now at Feyenoord.
Oh, right.
So yeah, we'll get him on. We'll get him on, man. We guys at Feyenoord and watch him for the day. Follow him for the day.
We need you on because.
Do you know what? Can I just talk about Chelsea? Going on to the next team, Chelsea.
Yeah.
They were. Well, Mendy was unreal. Mendy, he's got to be one of the signings of last season, man. The way that this guy, Frank, obviously signed him. Shout out to Frank Lampard for signing him because that a great bit of business. But what a performance! Like a goalkeeper that will instill confidence in a back line. You'd look back and go, "Yeah, my man is protecting us. Don't worry. They breach us. he's there. He's still got another big wall to go through. And like the way that they've got a doggedness about them. They've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek in that midfield, that deeper lying position was magnificent. I want to see him there regular. But they're getting it done. Lukaku ain't scored in 6 games, but they're still winning games. They're still looking like a team that are going to be capable of challenging. And there's no doubt in my mind he comes back and scores a hatful of goals. Just having a little bit of a rough period, like all strikers go through that. So this Chelsea team, they're a hard nut to crack, man.
One shot on target and a clean sheet.
Yeah, boring Arsenal.
That does the trick, man.
Sticking on the topic with Mendy, don't you guys think it's incredible that he hasn't been included in the Ballon d'Or selection?
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, I do. Because when you give it, I think, was Alisson in it before? Has he been in it?
Yeah, he's been in it before.
I think Mendy's overlooked massively. I think his performances, the amount of clean sheets he's had, I think there's no one had more clean sheets than him in the Premier League since he's arrived or since Tuchel's been here. He's been tremendous. And every game I've watched him live and every game I've seen on the TV, he's done something in the game that's made me go, that's why they bought him. That's why they bought him. He's just tremendous, man. He could be quiet for the whole game and he just pulls out that save. And that's concentration. They're the best keepers. They're the best keepers.
Did you see that breakdown of what it's actually voted, what the voting criteria of it actually is? Did you see that?
No.
So what do you think it is?
I don't want nothing but football. I don't want no outside stupidness. Give me the best footballer. That's it.
Yeah, that's what people think it is. That's not what it is, though.
So what is it?
There's 3 criteria, right? The number 1 criteria is performance in the last 12 months, which is what we all thought it probably was. But I think most of us thought that was all it was. So you've seen Cure included in there.
Be in there. Shouldn't be in there. Don't care what he's done.
Okay. So the second biggest criteria is fair play.
No. Come out. I'm not voting. I don't want it. I don't want the award.
Do you know what the third biggest criteria is?
Go on.
Career achievement.
That
means Ronaldo and Messi just win it every year then.
I think Ronaldo's winning it this year because of the international. Remember, it's a FIFA Ballon d'Or, right? So they love international football related.
No, but I've got to be honest. I wouldn't be overly shocked if Ronaldo won it based on what he's done this year.
I would.
Based on what he's done this year.
I would. I think because then you got to give it to Messi. Then Messi's won with Argentina, right? Yeah. Don't forget what he was doing at Barcelona as well. Despite them not winning the league, he was badding it up. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it's one of they both done unbelievable things this year. They've both been brilliant.
One broke the international goal scoring record. That's only going to happen once. I think Ronaldo
won a tournament. Messi actually won a tournament. He won Copa.
Yeah, I think it's great. I wouldn't argue with Messi getting it.
I'm not saying Messi should win it. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying I wouldn't argue with Messi winning it. You can't argue with Ronaldo when he's broke the world record for goals in national level. What more do you want, bruv? But
so what?
So if that's the third criteria,
and that's if we're going on that criteria. That's what I'm saying. Achievements.
I still don't agree, but yeah, I understand.
On Chelsea, they're looking serious. Tuchel's done a sensational job with them.
I love Tuchel.
I mean, he already had a great team. He added a final piece of the jigsaw there with Lukaku. Like I say, he's not scoring regular at the moment, but they're so hard to beat.
Yeah.
I ain't finished with Ballon d'Or yet. You've still got Mendy, like you said, Rio. He should be in there. Obviously, people are screaming out for Jorginho, who I would argue against to an extent. Kante, for me, I would put ahead of Jorginho. But
Kante's ahead of Jorginho.
But how they're ranking it, I saw that Jorginho actually qualifies to be higher, which is really, I'm racking my brain because
blasphemy.
Yeah. And then obviously, so there's that. But Zidane and original Ronaldo are backing Benzema. They're saying he should be the one.
Oh, Benz.
Well, there you go then. Career achievements.
If
career achievements comes into it, you've got to look at Benzema.
Can I just say something, please?
Yeah.
I argued so many times in the BT studios with Gary Lineker about Benzema. I played against him. No, he used to dismiss him, bruv. Like he's not top level. I used to think.
Send me his number. We're having a chat.
Oh my god. I played against him for France. I played against him when he was at Lyon, and I played against him obviously when he was at Madrid. But when I played against him at Lyon and he was young, I thought, this guy's different. He's got the moves, man. His movement subtle little movements that make a defender go like that. Where are you? Like that. He is bad. The ball, all facets of his game are on point. There ain't one area of his game that I go, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
Either way he receives the ball, can bang off both feet. His movement, he can run in behind if need be. He can come and receive it and play other people in. He sacrifices parts of his game for other people, i.e. Ronaldo when he was there. He can lead the line. He can play the second striker. He's strong when he gets the ball. He can beat a man if need be. Listen, no one can tell me nothing about Karim Benzema. He is a bad man.
We're going to
do what he's done at Real Madrid.
We're going to throw in these stats because I've got the stats here, Rio, and we ain't got enough time for me
this
to
season.
read them.
His stats this season are career.
No, his career stats. Steve,
can I just give you his season this season?
Fling them up.
He's played 8 games. He's got 9 goals and 7 assists. That's 16 goal involvements in 8 games.
Is that more than Salah?
I think so, yeah. It's a goal every... Hang on, I'll check Salah's. That's a goal every 44 minutes.
That's more than Salah, you know. I'm telling you.
Those two are probably the best in the world then.
No, Salah's got 8 games, 7 goals, 4 assists.
Yeah.
103 minutes per goal.
That's mad.
6 big chances created. He's doing mad stuff. Benzema this year is doing a madness. But people say...
He's 33.
But to win the Ballon d'Or, Lewandowski's got to be in there. He should win it because he didn't win it last year. He should win it. What's Lewandowski's goal ratio this year? He scored 2 at the weekend again. This guy's a madness.
He's 33 and all. Same age.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like
he's got 9 and 8 in Bundesliga.
9 and 8. Come on, man. And to go back to it as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, but
4 and 2 in the Champions League.
Sorry, but goalkeepers can't win Ballon d'Ors. I'm sorry. People might say, but they're just not. They should have their own award over there. Have their own award.
The last centre half when it was.
They're different animals. Goalkeepers are great. They're needed, but they to win the Ballon d'Or, the hardest thing to do is to bang the ball in the back of the net, man.
Right, that comes from one of the greatest defenders himself. Okay, we'll give you that. Listen, we're gonna move on to our last topic, but we want to give a massive shout out to the teams who have done this well this weekend. Big shout out to Wolves, winning their 3-2. I'm rattling through teams here before I get on to Newcastle.
Traore was emptying people, boy. See him.
Yeah.
He does.
Go on. Who else are we talking?
Sorry, I'm looking for my stuff here. Sorry,
Newcastle.
That was the last minute one as well. That.
No, we're gonna actually talk about Newcastle. So hold on a second. Obviously,
Wolves, 2-0 down, 10 minutes to go, win 3-2.
Yeah.
Bosh.
Norwich recalled that point. They get that point.
Yeah, Norwich got the point. Obviously, Southampton did their thing, beat Leeds, and
that Norwich's first point as well.
No,
second point,
isn't it?
So they've done something there. But now let's focus on Newcastle very quickly, mate. The fans were on a high afterwards. I mean, before the game, sorry. I see them really celebrating. They had their outfits on. I saw the owners there. They were ready. Callum Wilson scoring in the first 2 minutes. When he scored, I thought, hey, this could be it, Like, Newcastle was a talking point. Steve Bruce, obviously, earlier on in the week, he was having a go at the journalists because it was a disrespect how people were already practically saying he was sacked. And they asked Scholesy, is he the man to turn it around? And he said, of course he can turn it around. He's capable of helping them go further with the takeover. But at the end, Harry Kane found his shooting boots again. And Ndombele had an outstanding game. What a top player. And of course, Son on the score sheet. John Joe Shelby sent off. Rio, did you watch the game?
Yeah. Firstly, I think the fans, man. I said that the other day before when this takeover happened. Them fans are some of the most loudest, maddest fans ever. They're brilliant. They're a great set of fans, and it's an unbelievable moment for them. This is a new chapter in Newcastle's history, and they're going to be a different club forevermore now. But they're going to still have some teething problems. They're still going to have to hurt a little bit, I think, with the squad that they've got, and that ain't going to change overnight. Yes, it's invigorated the club, energized everybody at the club, but this result was a little bit of back to reality. This is where we are. This is our level at the moment, guys. And this is from a Spurs team who are lacking confidence, by the way, who they've been beaten by. So still a lot to do. I didn't learn anything new about the game at all. It was Newcastle, which I've seen before. But they need to start getting points on the board. And before you know it, listen, it's still very early in the season, but they're at the lower end of the table. They've got to start winning games to make sure that all of this adulation and all of this press and all the eyes on them can come to fruition through staying in the Premier League.
Because right about now, it's not looking very pretty for them in the Premier League.
Piss myself if they go down.
What'd you say, sorry?
I'll absolutely piss my pants if they go down.
That'll be crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah.
Do you think Steve Bruce deserves a chance to turn it around? I think he does. I think he does. I'll give it. I think he's been harshly treated by the people up there.
But you know
the
what?
Media.
He went for lunch with Fergie at weekend.
Did he? Yeah. Time of crisis. They need to go.
They're probably celebrating the fact he's done 1,000 games as a football manager. That's bonkers.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people don't get anywhere near that.
Wow, that's
true,
amazing.
Man.
Yeah, no, I like him personally. I think it's just it was always harsh for him. Even when he arrived, I think last season he did a great job, but it never really got acknowledged because of where he's managed as well.
Do you know the mad thing is he's an actual Geordie, and it doesn't seem to me that he's been treated like a local lad, a local guy who loved the club. I think his family are all supporters of Newcastle when he was growing up. He just hasn't been treated like one of their own for me.
They treated Rafa well better, and he had a better record up until this season. This season it's not been great, but up until last season he had a better record.
Yeah, man, but
it was a Geordie boy.
Yeah, but he managed Sunderland. You know, one thing I realized about the teams that
he took him down, though.
One thing I noticed.
He's done what he's meant to do.
I know, but they take it differently, man. Look at Michael Owen, your friend, Rio.
What about him?
I see Michael Owen as one of my favorite players anyway, growing up, by the way, first and foremost. Absolute legend. I feel like he has no home.
No one likes him.
He has no home. And I think it's an absolute liberties because I remember
I saw that little grin then.
I'm telling you, this ain't about what you think. This is about what us, the fans, what we're telling you, what we see when we
Stoke aren't having him. Geordies aren't having him. We ain't having him. Scousers don't have him.
Yeah.
I don't think Real Madrid are holding banners out for him.
The England fans love him. The England fans love him.
But
you think Michael Owen, you see him in an England shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at for example, I heard he was doing like tours for Liverpool the other day, and I was shocked. I was like, "Right, Liverpool's still allowing him to do tours, or whatever." It's mad.
I think there's some players. I think there's some players though that you look at them and you associate. Oh, he's an England player. Michael Owen's one of them. He's more an England player than anything else. I think if you spoke to Michael Owen, his biggest regret would probably be that he probably didn't stay at somewhere like Liverpool for long enough and really cement himself as being a local hero, legend. Listen, he's a hero, he's a legend. He's done ridiculous things there, but the fact that he moved on at a young age, but also come and played for Man United as well, probably gone against him a little bit.
Yeah, because you can't blame him for going to Real Madrid when he had the chance. I think anyone would have. At the time, they were the Galacticos.
Yeah, he come to Man United and done what he wanted to do. He wanted to win the league. Wanted to feel what it felt like.
You want to talk about mad Ballon d'Ors? He won a Ballon d'Or. I think it was 2001 he won it. He won it on the back of 16 goals as a striker. Can you imagine that? Imagine that. Rashford got way more than that last year. No one was talking about him for a Ballon d'Or, and correctly so.
If you're looking at it within the last 12 months of that period, he won the fake quadruple, right?
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah. Achievements, they said, isn't it? Achievements.
Yeah. So that's probably what it was. But guys, it's been a brilliant week for some. Not so good for others. But, this is why we love the Premier League, man. Lots of action, lots of joy. And I'm looking forward to seeing how...
Oh, you know what? The way you've creamed your face today is different. The way you've combed your hair, the way you've dressed up with a little turtleneck as well. You're looking a little bit more like... A little bit more loose than normal. I don't like it. Man United's results need to change, and your energy needs to change next week.
Do you know what it is? It's not even about Man United's results and them losing. Okay, it is a little bit. But it's because I'm looking at the weeks 6 weeks ago when I said what I said. I got ridiculed. I got killed all over the comments, left, right, and centre. DMs were looking mad. Oh, Joe, what are you talking about, Joe?
You realise if you lose tonight, you're 14th.
Do you know that if we win tonight, we're 1 point behind you? The same guys that were saying we were going to get relegated.
If buts and maybes. If buts and get the points on the board. I want points on the board, not if buts and maybes. Anyway, love you and leave you guys. It's been a pleasure.
No, wait on.